Well, in 1975, on the 700 Club, the first African-American co-host of a national TV show. Wow. And he was more surprised than anybody. Let's take a look.
Ben Kinchlow is known around the world as the longtime co-host of the 700 Club. For 17 years, he captivated audiences with his contagious laughter and charming personality.
I'm an American citizen.
Ben first appeared as a guest on the 700 Club in 1971 when he was the director of a drug and rehabilitation center. He later joined CBN as the director of counseling. Then in 1975, he joined Pat as co-host of the 700 Club, making him the first African-American host of a national TV show.
After leaving CBN in 1996, Ben began his own ministry, serving as a humanitarian, minister, and political awareness activist.
Well, please welcome back to the 700 Club a dear friend, Ben Kinchlow. Hey, baby. Hallelujah. Good to see you, my brother. 55 years. All right.
So good to see you. Come.
Ben, my first recollection of you from down in Killeen, Texas, where I think you were living on a pig farm or something, and doing something for, you were trying to help poor people or something. And we put you on the air, and this lady was talking to you, you were talking to her, and she had a 7-carat flawless diamond ring, as big as an egg, and she said, you know, I'm having a hard time getting servants. Do you understand that?
Are you kidding?
You know, I'm telling you the truth. And Ben looked at her like, of course I'm having trouble getting servants. Are you kidding? You remember that?
I do indeed.
And that's just one of your hallmarks of your grace under fire. I mean, honestly.
Yeah. Well, you didn't know you were going to be a host. You thought you were just coming down from Killeen to be with us.
Exactly. I had no idea, no clue.
So you came here thinking what, that you were going to just help with the phones or something?
No, yeah, I thought I was going to be out in the audience. You can see we had a director, and he would be out there with the people and say, you know, Pat, on the cell, we just got a call that came in from somebody. You know, and I could do that, right?
Yeah.
Big deal. So I'm sitting out there, and then I'm doing that, you know, and then, you know, I'm shaking hands with the council. Hey, how you doing? So good to see you. What a pleasure to be and everything. You know, and I said, no, there's a floor director kept looking at me. And, you know, I thought, when are we looking at him? But anyway, I just kept shaking hands. And I said, Mr. Kinchlow, we got about 2 minutes before air. Would you take your place? So I thought, well, they want to hear some more of my testimony. So I went over and sat down in the guest chair. Yeah. And I was sitting in the guest chair, you know, and just looking out there going, hey, how you doing? And he kept looking at me real strangely. And I said, Mr. Kinchlow, we got about a minute before we go in the air. Would you please take your place? And I thought, you know what? This would be a great time to ask where my place is. So I said, well, where am I supposed to sit? He looked like I'd punched him in the belly. He said, what? They didn't tell you? I said, tell me what? Said, Pat and Henry and Israel, you're the host of the 700 Club.
And that was the beginning of many years. Tell us a little bit about Operation Blessing, because you were the one who really took the steering wheel of that once Pat had the vision and launched it.
Well, again, Dr. Robertson, you know, he's such a gentleman of surprises.
That was really nicely put.
Called me up here and we talked about this vision he had from the Lord. The Lord gave me Isaiah 58. And he said, we're going to go out and help the poor. We're going to feed the hungry. And we're going to send. He said, that's great, Pat. That's absolutely spectacular. He said, yes, we're going to call it Operation Blessing. I thought, man, that's great. I'm sitting over in a chair like this. I said, Pat, that's just great. He said, we're going to call it Operation Blessing. I said, that's great. He said, yeah, and you're going to be in charge.
Yeah, he's pretty good at that, you know?
That's called executive leadership.
Yes, it is. And you do it so well. I just want to say.
The big thing is you don't give them any notice.
But the important thing is that, you know, Pat always had a heart for people. That's one of the things that I was so impressed by Pat. You know, when they brought me on the 700 Club, you know, it's like you didn't see a lot of African Americans on TV, you know, and they only had like what the guy with ABC and the guy with CBS, you know, and then I showed up. You know, and then Pat was putting us in, but he was concerned about the people, and that was always been the same thing, same yesterday, today, and forever.
I agree.
In all your experience, what experience touched you the most? You can remember?
all of them, you know, the beginning and the time we went to maximum security. Remember?
I remember seeing that. That was
a
powerful.
trip. Let me tell you. Tell us about
you ever wonder how Pat would do things like that? I mean, we could go to jail, but this guy didn't just take us to jail. He took us to prison for prisoners.
Yeah.
That's
in other
right.
words, if prisoners couldn't get along in the prison they was in, they sent them to this prison.
That's right.
And Pat says, we're going to go down and talk to them. And so this is, you know, we had you can see these guys out here, man. Murph the Surf, remember? That's Murph the Surf
That's
right
Murph,
there.
yeah, that's
Murph the
right.
Surf was there, and the Catch Me Killer was there, you know, and all these. You know,
He got caught.
Well, I want to say to Ben, I stood up and before I talked to these guys, they were hardened killers. I mean, they were hit men for the mob. I mean, one guy had killed 20 people. I mean, this was a tough crowd. And I thought, they locked us in, you know? Really.
You hadn't thought about that part ahead of time.
We couldn't get out if they started doing something. We were in. All right, so Ben was my straight guy, and I said, all right, Ben, it's yours. So he took off, and man, if he'd been a professional comedian, he could have. Before it was finished, those guys were slapping each other on the back and laughing. It was hilarious.
And people came to the Lord.
Well, that was after when Pat got it.
I gave a message about, I talked in street language, and about Jesus taking the rap for you, you know. And when I was having that whip come down, those men were wincing. You could see them, they felt it was so powerful. And they came up to hug me, and later on, one guy said, "You know that guy who Covey is?" I said, "No." I said, "He's the most feared man in this prison. He's a killer." And he came up. He found the Lord.
Really?
It was. I mean,
Yes, it was.
with the anointing of the Lord came on that prison. It was a totally different thing. God's Spirit came down.
You know, but that is really true. I know people don't realize, you know, that in prison, they send you to prison because you can't get along in the population, right?
That's right.
And then when they get you in prison, they have guys that can't get along in those prisons, so they sent them to this prison. This is where all the murderers and killers and really tough guys were. And here we were preaching to them. And when they came up there, you know, first we were a little concerned because this guy ran up here to put his arms around Pat. I thought, oh, here we go, you know. But he just came up, hugged him, and told him how much he loved me.
Wow.
And that is just the power. That's the power of the Holy Spirit, man.
What a time! We'll never forget it. All right, Terry.
It was most memorable. Well, we have some video of one of the first times I was a guest on the show with these two back in 1976. Beware the...
I don't know why Jesus loved me. Jesus loves me. I don't know why he cares.
Down and talk. Look at that was post Miss America by a couple of years because you knew I was a believer. I came on the
That's
club.
right.
First time was over in Portsmouth, so it was great to be able to come back here years later and actually sit between the two of you.
Can you imagine us sitting next to a Miss America?
Oh,
These
man,
two
that was
old
a big,
ranky guys
big
sitting
deal.
next to a Miss America?
Yeah. We're so honored.
We had some wonderful times together.
can.
We really, really did. Well, you can see more of Ben Kinchlow in an exclusive behind-the-scenes interview on our Facebook page. All you have to do is go to facebook.com/700club and see all the fun that's been had over the years. Hear
Facebook?
about
I'm gonna be on
what's- You're going to
Facebook?
be on Facebook, yep. Yeah.
Millions of clicks.
What's Facebook?
People are going to
Well,
like
it's the
you.
place. They call it social media. Whatever.